ahead and bring up, we do have a special guest with us. Angel was able to scout the Auburn versus Ole Miss game, and he's here today to tell us a little bit about his trip. Welcome on in. I have a couple questions for you. So first of all, I'm sure as you saw in that video, to the bookends for that video, as well as your picture right here, you had a very unique way of traveling up to Ole Miss this weekend. Could you tell us a little bit about how you traveled, as well as fans and alumni?
Good morning, everyone. So I've been a 12-year member of Florida Citrus Sports, but I've never scouted a game. I've been raising two sons over the last 12 years, and I just became an empty nester, so I'm going to start scouting a lot now. So I had a unique opportunity to travel there. I have a good friend who's a Ole Miss alum. He lives in Orlando, very successful apartment developer, and he's got his own plane. That little green plane is his plane, and he travels up there for the games. He flies in and then flies out right after the game. So I knew about this, and I said, I put myself down for several games, several Ole Miss games, and I was allowed to scout this one. So we left Orlando Regional Airport. That's me at about 7:45 in the morning, and we landed at Oxford. The airport there is called the airport at Ole Miss. It's literally a mile and a half from the campus, and we flew right in. It was about a 2-hour and 50-minute flight there. Great weather. It was very, very smooth, the smoothest flight I've ever taken in my life. And my scouting partner, his name is Rob Perry. He's from Chicago. He flew into Memphis the night before and was going to drive to Ole Miss in the morning and get there and do tailgating and all that. However, he lost his wallet on Friday night with his credit card, his cash, and everything. So he texted me in the morning. He said, "I'm not going to be able to make it." So it was just me, and it took me about an hour. Even though the stadium is only a mile away, there were so many people. There was some of the images you see. There was over 100 small planes that flew at that airport at Ole Miss. Alumni from both schools, fans, supporters, all flying on these small on planes. And there was a shuttle that takes you to the airport. It took me an hour to get on that shuttle just because of the amount of people that were getting in there. So I got to the state. It was an 11 a.m. local start. I got to the stadium. I got my credentials right next to the stadium and got in. It was probably about 10:20. So I did not get a chance to go tailgating but I was able to go on the field, talk to one Auburn coach who came up to me and said, he was here a couple of years ago. They had a great time at the theme parks and all that. So it was Military Appreciation Day. You saw some images earlier of the National Guard, being dropped into the stadium with a flag.
Awesome. And like you mentioned, you're a longtime member, first-time scout. Is there anything that you learned from this trip this past weekend? Any future advice that you can give to any future scouts, especially rookie scouts that are going on the road for the first time?
Well, I would probably, if I do this again, I would make sure I get there a lot earlier. Make sure so I can capture all get there early, be able to see both sides of the field and all that. It's a great experience for anybody that hasn't done it. You get to see really the back of the house of football. I watched the game from the press box. I mean, there was literally over 60 reporters there. They were all typing away, watching the game. There's a whole, Ole Miss had a whole analytics department there. They're charting every single play, and the stats are being kept on the screen, live and all that. It was just incredible. I was actually watching the game. This picture here on the right, I'm at a balcony. That reporter there's from ESPN, and just to the left of that was the Auburn. We see all the Auburn coaches with, sending plays and all that. So that's where there's a couple of Mississippi Highway Patrol that escorts the coaches down at halftime and brings them up. But it's great to see the back of the house. If you like football, if you get to see all these things that you don't see as a fan.
Awesome. Perfect. Awesome. Well, did you have anything else that you wanted to touch on? Anybody you talked to, what their conversations were like that you wanted to add?
Well, Ole Miss is really very optimistic this season. They're 7-0. They're ranked 7th. And I was in the elevator on the way up, and there was a family there, a man probably in his about 40s, with his wife and 3 children. And there was other Ole Miss alum, and they asked me, so which of they saw my polo shirt. So he goes, which of the teams are here scouting? And I said, both of them. And then the guy laughed, and he said, I'm not going to say what he said, but he said, BS. And he started laughing. It was typical Bull Scout update. So I think that they're looking for, bigger and better things, but who knows? I mean, there's still 5 or 6, there's 5 games left. They could end up here. So they've never played in any of our bowl games. They were here in 2016. I think they played FSU in a preseason classic, but they're one of the teams that have never been to Orlando. So one of the women members thought that that we're in Miami. I said, no, we are the Florida Citrus Sports in Orlando. But it was a great experience. There's an opportunity to go back. Let me know.
Yeah,
Thank you.
awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time today.